What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Uncle Fred coming back at you with another video. Giving you a little bit of Cowboy news. We still basking in the afterglow, if you want to say that, after that thrilling 35-29 victory over the New England Patriots. Still feels good. I'm still slightly hoarse. As Wednesday is, I'm still slightly hoarse. But anyway, just give you some updates on some things. Certainly, we Cowboys got a bye week this week, and couldn't have came with a better time. We got some injuries to men. Tyron Smith, Cedric Wilson, and then we got some guys like Donovan Wilson's going to be coming back off injury. Possibly Michael Gallup. And of course, we're going to be getting Lyle Collins back off suspension. But you know what? But I'm a little perturbed right now because, I'll get into that later. First news I want to give you, pertinent Cowboy news, is an update on Dak. And NFL insider Ian Rappaport has reported that Monday that Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is looking good after an MRI on the calf. Coach Mike McCarthy confirmed Monday that he has a slight calf strain, which occurred on the final play of the 35-29 overtime win over the Patriots. Afterwards, the two-time Pro Bowler in his press conference downplayed it, said, I'm going to play. He said, they said he'll be fine. But, until then, he said, McCarthy said the plan is for Prescott to rest because he got a week to rest and to rehab it during the bye week. So, they're going to have everything I think I saw it on Skip and Shannon this morning. He's going to have everything that's available at the Cowboys facility going to be at Dak's house. They're going to be using everything they got to get him up to par, to get him ready for this week 7 at Minneapolis. Okay. He says, now there's a variance in the timeline, but we're optimistic for Minnesota, McCarthy added. So, during a radio interview on 103.5 The Fan, Stephen Jones, which, how I feel about the ownership talking to the media and having radio shows, but now that's neither here nor there. He says that he understood the belief that Prescott didn't suffer a significant injury. Anytime you're sending your quarterback in for an MRI, there's a little nervousness, but also know what a competitor and how tough Dak is, and I will amen him on that one. There's been some talk about that, and I was looking at some of the talking heads talking about that today, and there was going some back and forth. They were listening to Dak. Dak was saying that's not no big deal. I'm gonna play regardless, and I know, but the way this thing works, the athlete always wants to play. Talking about different sports. I'm going into basketball. In the 2019 finals, Kevin Durant wanted to play. He probably shouldn't have played, but he wanted to play. The athlete always wants to play. And sometimes the medical experts and specialists have to sometimes save them from themselves, if you know what I'm saying. So, but yeah, he wants to play. And I know Dak is a competitor, and I know he plays with pain. I know he overcomes everything. And, but if that calf strains are not a joke, because that's what Kevin Durant had. He had a calf strain. That's what Michael Gallup had. He had a calf strain. He was out since the first game. He ain't been back since. Kareem Hunt has a calf strain. If y'all saw him getting carted off the field in the Cleveland Arizona game this past Sunday, he didn't look happy. He was crying. That's how serious that is, and we'll be looking at how long he's out. So. And I know they were saying that with some position groups, the injury is not as bad because he's not cutting. He's not, because for a running back, your cutting mechanisms is everything. As you're a quarterback, you can kind of minimize some of that. That's why with a quarterback, an ACL is not devastating. You can play with it. Remember, Carson Wentz played with an ACL and threw a touchdown pass. And also remember that my man. What's my man's name? Played for the San Diego Chargers at the time. Played the AFC Championship game with an ACL tear, and because he's not asked to do nothing but drop back and pass. He wasn't a running quarterback. So I can't think of his name. It'll come to me. But so maybe, you know, and I'll be optimistic with that. But boy, I'm gonna tell you this: as a Cowboy fan, I am slightly nervous about this because I'm just gonna tell y'all, Dak is everything. All right, that man, that Rain Dakota Prescott, he is everything. That man goes down, we may as well pour water on the fire. The season's over. Okay, all right. And the reason I know that's because, you know, I've not ever, and I know Kellen Moore is great at what he does, and I love Kellen Moore's game planning and stuff like that, and maybe that give us some chance. But behind him, we got Cooper Rush, we got Ben Anthony DiNucci, and we got Garrett Gilbert. I think they may have been on the practice squad, and I think we got Will Greer from West Virginia. They drafted, they picked him up on the practice squad. I think he got drafted a couple of years ago. I think initially by the Carolina Panthers, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they got those are the options. And if I'll go back to 2015, that's the year that I said that's the year they should have fired everybody on the offensive staff, including Jason Garrett and everybody else. And the reason I say that, and I'm kind of delving in because I just want to show you the importance of the quarterback position. We had Tony Romo then, and we were coming off a 12-4, and I think that might have been the best best Cowboy team I've seen since the glory days, 90s teams. You know, we had DeMarco Murray running for 1,800 yards. Tony Romo threw for 34 touchdowns, eight interceptions. It was second runner-up in the MVP. We were running the ball down people's throat. Our defense was opportunistic. We lost to Green Bay on that no catch by Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant at the time was the best wide receiver in the NFL. Caught like 88 catches for like 1,600 yards and 16 touchdowns that year. But we go into 2015 thinking, I'm like, man, we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. We was right this close. And we know at the game 2 against the Philadelphia Eagles, Tony Romo goes down with a collarbone, which I was like, why were we throwing late in the game? We was up by like a couple of scores. And he gets hit on a blindside hit, and he breaks his collarbone. So we go the rest of the season up to like game 11 without a quarterback. So we started, I think, Brandon Weeden, because he was the backup. And then we had acquired Matt Castle, who played in the New England system in 2008 and 9 and went to Kansas City and won some games and everything and stuff. But you know that we had the same offensive line we had the year before. You had Zach Martin. You had Travis Frederick in his prime. You had Tyron Smith in his prime. We had Doug Free, okay? We had all those guys on the offensive line. We had McFadden. We had Joseph Randall, who was a good running back, you know, before he started stealing draws and perfume, whatever. It's not funny. And we had Alfred Morris. And so we had a great running back and a good offensive line. And that we still had Dez. We still had Terrence Williams. We still had Jason Witten with like 2-3 years left. So them quarterbacks that they put in there, and Jason Garrett's supposed to be this great offensive play caller, this great offensive guru, and we lost 8 straight games. Okay. And if we had won, I don't know, 2 or 3 of those 8 games until Tony got back, we may have snuck into the playoffs and could have maybe, got some things going that year. But we went 0 for 8. We lost all 8 games. And we lost to the Giants, who won like 7 games that year. We lost to the Eagles, who won like 6 games that year. We lost to Tampa Bay, who won like 7, 8 games that year. We lost to New England that year. I think we got shut out in that game, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, they were, Super Bowl, ish that year. I don't think they went, but they were, in the discussion. They went to the AFC Championship game, lost to the Broncos. But we lost 8 straight games in that stretch, and lost to the Redskins. They ended up winning the division. I think they were like 9-7 or something like that, 9-7, 10-6 or something like that. But they weren't no juggernaut. We ended up beating them the last game of the season with Kellen Moore is the quarterback, you know. So, no, they weren't no juggernaut, but we went 0-8. So what I'm telling you is, I don't know. Dak goes out. I'm concerned that we might go through one of them tailspins until he comes back, losing every game until he comes back, because we've not proven that our system is good enough, and we can game plan games well enough where you can tailor make a game plan to a certain quarterback's strengths and run that, you know, because Brandon Weeden left us and went to the Texans and won some games and got them in the playoffs. Matt Castle went to another team and won games. Okay, so you know we just couldn't get wins out of them with a team all around them. Okay, they should have fired the entire offensive staff for that. You know, so I'm just concerned about that. So we'll see where that goes. But they're optimistic with some rest and rehab that they can, he'll be fine for the Minnesota game, because we're going to need him to be 100%, because Minnesota's a good team. They've won two out of the last 3 games. They kind of like, starting to feel their stride and, hit their stride. And they got a lot of great skill position players. I know Kirk Cousins is kind of up and down, but when he's on, he's a pretty good quarterback. And they got great receivers. They got 2 good running backs. It's like we got 2 good running backs, and they got some good guys on defense, So our work's going to be cut out for them going up to their place trying to win, and we don't need a 55% Dak Prescott. So hopefully he can get some good rehab and rest, and he'll be good enough to play. So in other news, this goes up to, Stephen A. Smith always talks about, he's laughing at the Cowboys. Anything can go wrong, will go wrong. We got things going. We done won 5 games in a row. And then, then I get this notification about like 1:00 today. Cowboys safety Demontre KZ arrested early Tuesday morning for DUI in suburban Dallas. Pulled over for a traffic stop, failed a field sobriety test, and was arrested. Okay. At time that the story was broken, it was unknown as whether the NFL would what penalties they would incur on him or whatnot, or suspensions or fines or anything like that, because they got conduct penalties and things, detrimental conduct stuff that they do in the NFL and stuff like that. So I just thought that was, like, dude, what are you thinking? I mean, we got a good thing going. What are you doing? And that's just the stuff that kills me about that. And I always said, go back to the organizational structure, organizational culture. And these things don't happen to other organizations, like that, And but hopefully, he'll learn from that. And I know we deep at the defensive back position, especially at the safety position. We got Donovan Wilson coming back. Keanu is a safety / linebacker, and Wright, Nathan Wright. He's a / safety / they can run. They could use some hybrid, guys for that. So, but that's just disappointing, man. We got a good thing going. We're on a high. Everybody should be rallying together. We ought to be doing things together as a team and whatnot. And this guy goes maverick. He goes out drinking by himself and gets picked up by the cops. So like, anyway, so there's that. In other Cowboy news, this is just just some sprinkled in news. It was reported that at a press conference this week that Ezekiel Elliott had some disparaging comments about the officiating. He said he was talking about how we was able to overcome, the game, the Patriots, and how they coached and how their team. And he said we also had to overcome the Zebras. And he was talking about that there was 12 penalties for 115 yards that we incurred, including about 5 or 6 offensive holding calls that we had to overcome. That would have stalled most teams' drives, but we were able to overcome them. And a lot of people was saying he shouldn't say that. He shouldn't say that. I said, no, he need to say that because they need to be put on blast because they was calling stuff they shouldn't have been calling. It was obvious that they were calling stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some calls that were made. There was obvious. There was a couple of calls that I think Tyron Smith did have one holding call I saw. I know Connor Williams had, I think he ended up with 3 holding calls. And I know that last one was bullcrap, and that made him react the way he did and got an unsportsmanlike on top of that. And it was when you know that they're messing with you, it makes you like that because like the game's critical now. You calling that, and I get it, but maybe he shouldn't have said that publicly, or maybe he should have said that he may have said it sort of like, yeah, we had to overcome some interesting penalty calls, but we prevailed and left it at that. But to say we had to overcome the zebras, might not be a good look, and he's probably going to be getting an envelope from the NFL, but I'm not mad at him for saying it because as a Cowboy fan, I was saying it. We got a lot of bum calls on that. It was obvious they was favoring the Patriots because they only got like 5 penalties. We got 12. They had like 5 penalties, like 45 yards, and we had like 12 for 115. And we had had a 567 yards of offense. So that's like 567 plus like 150. So it's like almost had like 700 yards of offense when you put the penalty yards in there. So, whatever. But anyway, that's just stuff that I thought was off the news wire, things that I thought was noteworthy as far as the NFL, as far as the Dallas Cowboys are concerned. So, I'm trying to, commit to give you guys good information, especially with the Cowboys are concerned and news and noteworthy things. So Dak, we're optimistic about Dak and his right calf, and of course now Tyron Smith too. Hadn't heard any word about that, but probably he's gonna get a week off and he'll be good to go probably in 2 weeks from now. And then same thing with Cedric Wilson, and of course now this the Montre Casey. I don't know. We'll be hearing something shortly about what the NFL is going to do, and if that means he's going to have to miss games or anything like that. So I don't know how that's going to go. So anyway, that's all I got from the desk of Uncle Fred. On this little video, I just want to give you some videos about some pertinent Cowboy news. Anyway, that's all I got. Y'all stay with us. Like and subscribe and comment and get involved with the Uncle Fred experience. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Uncle Fred out.